Listen to the sound of my spirit as he softly calls you. Early in the morning, his voice rises in you, and it's all that can be. As he draws you here to this place, the place of my presence. Everything else seems to fade away, and in the light of this new day, it's me that you see.
So what he gave me this morning was this. Walking with me in spirit is a descriptive phrase for the joining of your spirit and soul.
Okay, that's
so we talk a lot about learning to walk in the spirit. What does it mean to walk in the spirit? He said that is a descriptive phrase for the joining of your spirit inside you with your soul. Right. The two learning to walk together.
Now that it's also about your spirit and your soul connecting with my spirit and my soul, and we learn to walk together. That's corporate.
Right.
Singular is what you do inside yourself and I do inside myself. That's a singular message God has for each one of us. But the corporate message is that a married couple, two that come together, they come together to be two, become together to be one. And the process of becoming one is a long extended battle between your man of sin and my man of sin. And all the crap that comes in the middle of that and all the good things that come in the middle of that, they all combine to make a mud pie.
And that's what we are.
A mud pie.
Wet dirt. So he says, walking with me in spirit is a descriptive phrase for the joining of your spirit and soul. Eventually, this will be permanent. But now, there is a separation for distinction so that you can know the truth of who you are in me, which is part of man's maturation process.
That's one of the better things that he's doing in us. He's making he's making me realize that I have something that he puts inside of me. But the other half of that message is inside you. So I have to be quiet and still and allow your message to infiltrate my thinking process to help me in my soul search about the things he told me to be a truth, because they're also a truth inside you.
Yes.
So this is what we're looking for. Confirmation of God alive inside of you. I can see him alive inside of you. Sometimes I don't see him alive inside of other people, but I know that he's there because he tells me that he is. So this is the things that we're enabling us to learn how to walk through. Every single person that you meet is a child of God. You have to learn to appropriate that understanding when you're talking to him, no matter how mad that person gets you, no matter how stupid that person acts, or no matter what he does or what they do. It's about what they're supposed to be doing for the moment.
So what it does is changes your actions toward them, because you're the one who's aware of it. They aren't. So God requires that.
They don't see how fat their belly is.
So he's saying that what we're walking out now is for distinction, is so we can understand the truth of who we are in Christ. That was a term that used to always grab me. Well, who I am in Christ. Well, what does that mean? That's pretty nebulous. Who he is in me, that's pretty nebulous. That's like that. Now faith is. What is faith? Well, faith is the conviction. So who he is in me is who the spirit in me with my soul, what is that? What is that interaction? He said you're walking through a season, as you put earlier, one of the ages of your life is learning to walk. And the more you learn to walk soul and spirit together, who I am in my person and who he is in this person, who he is in me, the more those two learn to walk together is the more mature I become.
And that allows your soul to see this new creature that you really are.
Yes.
This new creature that we are is that Christ spirit that lives inside of us. We don't get to see him. The only way we can see him is looking through a mirror. And my mirror of seeing the Christ inside of me is looking at you. I see the Christ inside of me making changes in your life, and I see the Christ spirit inside of you making changes in my life.
I see changes in you as you relate to me. What he's done in you to make you able to relate to me and me able to relate to you. It's not just us learning I know you and this makes you mad, so I don't do this anymore. It's not that. It's what he's doing in us to prepare us to walk with each other.
My words come from my father. You have to learn how to G-haul. When the farmer's plowing with the field with a mule, he doesn't use the reins. He hollers G, and the horse turns left, the mule turns left. He hollers haw, and the mule turns right. So learning how to correspond to commands of the one who's leading and guiding you is the intricate personality of this Christ Spirit making changes in your soul, and your soul desires to learn how to hear the G and the haw.
So that was the next part of this. He said the Father desires for you to know the difference between who you were as a fallen individual on your own and who you are joined together with Him as a new creation man.
Right. That's good.
There's a huge difference that will become even more pronounced as you learn to connect on a more consistent basis, and your enhanced strengths and abilities become available to you as you walk in me. There are things that He's gifted in us, that He's placed in us, that we don't know anything about until we start walking with Him.
Right.
And the more we walk with Him, the more He's able to pull out of us these things, or the more we're mature we become. It's like you don't give a 5-year-old a car to drive. Even though you may have bought a car for them when they're 18, they get this car, you don't just turn them loose with the car to just get into trouble. You teach them how to responsibly drive it.
At this point, let me put a definition of the word maturity, maturation. He gave us a word of comprehension for our souls to grab this understanding. Maturity means that your soul is no longer swayed by the desires of your enemy.
That's good.
You become mature.
You.
You're a complete. The word is delios. Is that a human? The huios. Huios is a mature. The word perfect is what we're talking about. But perfect doesn't mean that you have nothing wrong with you. Perfect means that you're aged. You've learned that God is leading and guiding you, and the maturation process is that your man of sin is talking to you at the same time, wanting you to scratch your head and to pick your ears, but at the same time he says you need to stand still and listen and hear what's being said. And maturity means you go past the man of sin's objection to what's being said and to hear what God is really saying. Can you hear what I'm talking to you about?
And you're able to understand.
And you're able to understand it, and you're able to walk it out and tell somebody else about what you heard. What did you hear? I heard God say that He's alive inside of me, and He's making changes in our lives, because He was making changes in my life, and He's making changes in your life, singular. Yes. Making changes in our lives corporately, that we learn how to G and haul together.
There is much for you to discover and learn, even about yourself, as your old identity slips away, so that you can think like I do and freely act as you learn of the Father's desires for you, and they become evident.
The old identities that slips away, God is actually putting them behind you, and is making you recognize that what you're looking at now is the new you. This new Christ Spirit that lives inside of you, we're getting to this place to where I can actually see Him inside you. I saw Him at the beginning, but it was a different format. But the things that I see now is one that God chose for me to walk with, for the purpose of me being made complete. You complete me.
And in the process, iron sharpeneth iron. There's a
Right.
little sparks every now and
Yeah,
then.
it's not just slapping and hitting to make the sparks, but it's the comprehension that God is making the sparks.
Yes.
And He's setting fire to those things of the old and giving us things anew. That's the seeds that He's sowing. The seed comes from the same tree. Then the seed that produces another tree that has another fruit on it, that fruit is just like the other fruit, but it's not that fruit, it's one like it. So you're one like me, and I'm one like you, because the Christ who lives inside of me is also the same Christ who lives inside you. I recognize Him in you. I see past your enemy's subterfuge. And I get to see the joy of the Lord in my soul because I saw the Lord inside you. And that produces joy in me because I know that it wasn't my choosing that brought you here. It was His purpose,
Yes.
His design. So you recognize this, that this is what happens in everybody's life. He places somebody, I don't care who you are or what's going on in your life, He has someone for you to walk with, maybe just for a few days, maybe for years, maybe for a lifetime, but He has somebody for you to walk with at every moment given in time. There's somebody there for you to speak to talk to listen to help, to lift up.
Yeah, even if it's just a guy by the side of the road needing money for lunch.
We have some of those guys that they actually see us coming and they recognize that I'm going to eat today. Thank you, Lord.
This morning, I woke up early. I was awake at 6 this morning. And I got up and spent some time with the Lord first thing. And I was praising Him and worshiping Him. And then after a while, my mind was off in the garden thinking about a plant I have and where does it need shade or sun? Where's the best place to put it? And I thought, well, that's my enemy snatching me away from the Lord. And I just went back to Him and spent more time with Him. Lord, I just want to be in your presence and bask in your presence. So He answered me at that time He let me know there's no conviction for that, and it really wasn't your enemy, but He clarified it in my writing this morning. He said, this to becoming one walk encompasses every part of your life walk, not just when you are quiet and still with me, or playing worship music, or studying my words of truth. He said, this is a way of life. So working, playing, even shopping and showering, there is nothing in your life that is not intricately connected to this soul-spirit relationship. And you will soon see me in all of it, changing all of your life for the better.
That's a big nugget. It sounds like a lot of words just put together, but the big nugget is that you're starting to recognize, even you no longer, as the word is spring chicken, but you're starting to recognize that something different is happening in your life. And as we get older, we start looking in the mirror and seeing our faces changing, our bodies changing. Things that used to stand up are now saggy. And things
Speak for yourself.
things that we have, things that we have around us are different. Things that we look for are different. Things that we hear them with a different mindset.
Right.
And this mindset now is a mindset that God's really talking to me, but I need to hear Him through that voice of that man on the side of the road and say, hey man, do you have anything that you can give me to help me shave my beard? Do you have one of those things? I said, yeah, I do. Be right back. So I stopped what I was doing and went and got what I had. That to me was a throwaway because I just put it in the drawer.
Because you bought a new one.
I put it in the drawer, but it didn't put it in the drawer, so I didn't throw it away. It was for that young man, and it was for that purpose that I put that away. So when I bought a new one for me, personalized, that he gave the one that I had before that I used for years, this young man, to him it was a brand new one. And he got what he was looking for, and I got to give him something that appeased my soul.
And he just happened to ask for the thing that you
I was
had.
just put in a drawer.
So that's seeing God in those moments again.
Right.
Where God had you put it in the drawer for Him, not knowing that a month later this man's going to say, you know what, this is really the need in my life
This
today.
is what I really have. I thank you for the money to buy me something to eat, but I really want to. The one that I had broke, and I can't buy another one. And I'm not looking for another one for you to give me money to buy another one, but do you have one? Do you have anything that I can use? I said, yes. Funny that I just did that. I just put one, not only one, but I had two. So the things that we get now, they don't last that long.
No, and they're buying new one.
They're made in China, and they're made to last 6 months, and then you throw them away and go buy you another one.
The other thing is, I know you've talked about times when you were before the Lord in prayer and seeking you, praising and worshiping Him, and you find yourself, you might go into a job you're working on and how to do something, and you're like, no Lord, I want to be back with you. And He's like, but I want to be with you. I want to be doing what you're doing, and I'm preparing you for where you're going. So we need to realize that it's not We have religious mindsets of what God is doing, what he wants to do in our life, where he wants to take us. And he says, no, I want to be right there where you are all day long. I want to show you how to do it with me, and I'll make it easier for you. I'll open doors you didn't know were there. I'll put my favor on it. I'll take you into things that you didn't expect, and I want to bless you, but I want to do it with you.
Amen. I'm a skilled craftsman. There's not too much stuff that I work on that I don't know how to do, but there are problems that I run up against sometimes that kind of press on me to what's the best way to do this. I can do this way, but what's the best way to do this? So I know that I'm thinking about this now. Tomorrow morning when I go to the floor to sit down and give time to the Lord in my praise and worship time, private praise and worship time between me and the Lord, that while I'm sitting on the floor giving glory and praise and praying, and that he's putting things in my mind, he actually gives me answers to those problems. He reveals to me, bam, 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 you can do this and this and this, and this is what's going to happen, and when you do that, you're going to see how simple this is. What would have took me 3 or 4 hours to do, I do it in 15 minutes. And that's because he showed me, he told me, and I thought that when it's first, like you said, I thought when this was first happening, in my praise and worship time, this is my enemy trying to steal this glory from the Lord from me. But the Lord said, no, everything that happens to you, I do this, even allowing your enemy to come and touch you. I allow that because you need some sifting, you need some shaking.
Because you have some old mindsets that you have.
Let me break some of this stuff off of you, boy. My daddy says, come here, let me learn you something. In your quiet time, can you hear me call your name? My truth is here. Nothing will be the same when you hear and obey. Your world will fade away as I shine on you.